Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMtrading. Today is April 8th, 2021, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, Microsoft and Facebook reaching and pushing to record highs, all-time record highs. And we've been watching this for a few days, and we've been mentioning this. So this is why it's so important to stay on top of the daily review on a daily basis. Now, looking at the major economic events of the day, later today at 6 p.m. South African time, Fed Chairman Powell will be speaking out of the United States. And now looking at the various markets, starting out with the currencies, British pound retraces significantly versus the US dollar, and the indices, the Nasdaq pushing higher while the Dow Jones on its record highs or close to it. Now looking at the commodities, gold continues to push higher, while oil remaining unchanged. Now looking at the stocks, FANG stocks are in focus now because they are pushing higher. Now looking at the cryptocurrencies, lastly, Bitcoin faltering and looking for a range-bound trade. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're going to first take a look at the Euro USD at a 4-hour chart. And we see that it's relatively strong, not retracing. But when we look at the GBP, it's retracing quite significantly. So we mentioned this the other day, that the GBP looked like it was changing character. The Euro looks like it's changing character. Euro getting stronger versus the USD. And the GBP now changing its character to being a little bit weaker versus the USD. So this is really interesting when these type of variances happen. And they give you an opportunity, a massive opportunity like the one we just saw. Okay, if we look at the dollar getting stronger versus the GBP but weaker versus the euro, in spite of the fact that the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones are going higher. Now let's first take a look at gold as it's pushing higher to that 1743-ish level, getting closer to that 1748. Now this is a little bit more bullish, and I do expect it to push higher. Maybe if it does push above that 1748, we could see it back into that 1770. That's my next real target as a resistance, potential resistance. Looking at the Nasdaq, we're first looking at a daily chart. Let's take a look at a 4-hour chart, plowing right through. It didn't really plow. Let me rephrase that. It sustained and pushed above that 13,336, but used that previous resistance as a subsequent support. You could not write this up. Okay, if you look at this right now, this was a Fibonacci retracement that I set up for quite some time. And look at that, didn't break lower, used that previous resistance, subsequent support right here. Let's highlight that so we get the credit for it. That was previous resistance. This was previous resistance. This was right there. And it retraced just a little bit and boom, took it higher. Now, this is on the back of a couple of things. This is on the fact that Facebook and Microsoft have been relatively strong over the last couple of days, even though the Nasdaq kind of gave us a fake out. Okay, it did look weak for some time, about 2 weeks around here, okay, when it was consolidating, but now it's changing character. Now, looking at the daily chart, okay, we're only about 200 points to 150 points away from our all-time highs, as Microsoft and Facebook are making all-time record highs. This is really important because that means the stocks are going before the index, and the index will play catch-up, okay? That's a lagging and leading indicator here. Now, looking at Facebook, plowing through that 311, looking at Microsoft, 249. Beautiful move on the upside. Now, we mentioned this over the last couple of days. We had a gap up and go, gap up and go, and gap up and continue going, okay? This is really a rocket ship, you know, flying into orbit here as it's really sustaining some major strength. Now, at these levels, I don't like to chase it up, but I do not want to, you know, miss on a potential move. We may get a correctional move, okay? Not sure if that will happen, but you got to really gauge yourself, okay? Because the cat is out of the bag, and everybody knows that Microsoft and Facebook are strong. Now, looking at the Dow Jones, we're right there at our highs, or close to it, about 40 points away from it, okay? If we look at a 30-minute chart, just to give us perspective, you know, we've been in a tight range relatively, traced to 33,249, and then rallying back to that 400-ish level, okay, but not breaking higher. Now, looking at the individual stocks, Alcoa just tapering off, JP Morgan also just trading in a very tight range as these markets are consolidating in the old tech stocks, okay. Looking at Apple, pushed a little bit higher yesterday. I would have liked to see this push even higher, okay, to get that resilience as a FANG stocks. Okay, we may play catch up here if we look at the secondaries. Amazon also pushing higher yesterday. So out of the 5 to 6 FANG plus Microsoft stocks, 3 of them are making highs or pushing higher. Okay, so that is significant into pushing the index even higher. Now, looking lastly at Bitcoin, we couldn't sustain that yesterday at 58,000. This is something I mentioned yesterday, and we broke out lower to 55,451. Now, I'm not celebrating the fact that this is, a sell-off. This is going to go back down to 50,000. But for right now, we're consolidating at the upper range, okay? Not enough momentum to push it to new highs, but not enough sellers to really take us lower, okay? So we are consolidating between the 60,000 and 55,000-ish levels, okay? A minor support at that 57,000-ish. So just be aware that I'd wait for some sort of extremity to happen. You might want to take your hands off for Bitcoin over the next couple of days just to see if there's going to be some sort of breakout in either direction. This is Fred Razak, and I wish everybody a great trading day. Thank you.